We are live.
Hi.
There's nobody here yet.
Hi, anyway.
I want to grab a drink.
You always wait till like the last minute.
I do. That's my life. I don't know how your life is, but my life says I need a drink when I hit play.
Why don't you ever get the drink before you hit go live?
I don't need to explain my life to you, Lisa.
Yes, you do.
No.
Yes. I'm still waiting for the notificazione.
The notificazione?
Notificacion? I don't know. Hi, people. I thought you were getting a drink.
I am getting a drink.
In the bathroom?
Yeah.
What? I don't have the notification.
No?
Nope. Got it.
Got it.
Got it. I gotta share it.
Gotta share it.
Share. Tweet. Hi, people.
Hi, people.
I tweeted. Facebook. Bob Iger. Wow, I can't spell.
You can't spell?
Is back. Next, share. Hi, everyone. We're getting... Tony, you're not here. I'm missing all these comments because I'm sharing. And you're too busy pouring yourself Coke.
Having a Coke. Because I'm a big boy. I'll do what I want.
Do what you want.
Yeah.
Group for the ears share. I'm done sharing.
Well, hello, everybody.
Oh, hello, everybody.
So glad to see you back again.
Binky was the first one.
Can I interest you guys in a Coke?
Hello, everyone. Hello, hello.
Sit
hello,
back.
hello.
Relax.
Hope all is well. Everything's swell.
Everything is swell. What up, homies? What's up, Robert? How's it going, man? What's good? Randomness, I just grabbed the beer. I grabbed the Coke.
Coke.
Coke. Howdy from Texas, Tiffany. Howdy from Orlando. What's happening? How goes it, everybody? I'm sorry if this is kind of late. It's not actually too late.
No.
7:30.
It's not like...
I thought it was going to be much later because, I don't know, I had to work a mid-shift. But because at the hospital, our census is so low at the hospital, I like texted you at 5 o'clock and I'm like, I'm done with the line.
That's why I was like, we probably could have driven together today then.
But it takes me like an extra half hour, 45 minutes to like get done with the stuff.
I lost power 4 hours ago and my phone is dying, so just want to check it. I heard a lot of people lost power. Like,
yeah, what's going on?
Well, somewhere up in PA, there was a car accident that hit a pole. So that set power out on the street.
Oh, there was a gnarly tornado somewhere.
There were tornadoes that have gone through that obviously knocked out power.
Yeah.
Which, how terrible is that to be quarantined and not have power?
And then have a tornado.
Well, the tornado probably came before the power went out.
Still. It's like,
yeah,
that sucks. So I feel bad for everybody, and I hope everybody's okay.
Super tornadoes here in Tennessee last night. Yeah, and I heard that they went into the Carolinas this morning.
Yeah, something like that.
That the storms rolled in there and produced more tornadoes.
Hurricane force winds of 70 miles an hour? What?
Are you getting tornadoes?
Yeah, look at your sky. Look for signs of tornadoes, my friend.
Look at your sky.
Look at your colors.
In Wisconsin, it snowed last night. My sister wasn't too happy.
What's going on with the world right now? You know what I mean? The world is all messed up.
Jumanji.
Yeah, pretty much.
Someone stop playing the game. It's not funny anymore.
No, they have to finish the game, right?
I don't know.
Stop. Yeah, that's right, Jumanji, yeah. You have to finish the game for it to stop.
Well, hurry up and finish it.
Somebody better roll that dice. I'm telling you, the world is crazy right now.
Oh, my.
So, hello, everybody. Tony
like
here, Lisa here. Welcome to Tip of the Ears, where we are going to talk to you about what has been going on in the Disney news, right? Some interesting things. Interesting, not interesting to me, because I don't know if you guys remember, probably about, a month ago?
Pretty much when it was more than a month ago. It's pretty much when the news hit that Bob Iger Iger was stepping down and Chapek was coming up. We all had conversations pretty much. Bob Iger stepped down so Chapek could come in. Something terrible would happen. Bob Iger would come back to save the day and then pass it on to
Diamaro. Now, I've said that in this live, not today's live, but in other lives. I know I've said it in a podcast. I know I've said it on all social media platforms, and a lot of people said I was crazy for my conspiracy theory. Well, hello. So far, I'm doing pretty good. I'm 50% right now.
I am really
Except for Chapek didn't get fired. I thought that was going to happen. That didn't happen yet.
Yeah.
So, what is going on, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about? As we know, less than 2 months ago, Bob Iger stepped down, like Lisa just said.
Effective immediately, it said.
Immediately. So then Chapek took over, yada, yada, yada. Then we have this whole COVID thing, yada, yada, yada. You know, let's fast forward a little bit. So then we get in the news yesterday how Bob Iger played his reverse Uno card.
Or as other people are saying, he's becoming the Jay Leno of Disney.
Or I've also heard that Bob Iger played the biggest April Fool's joke. And
Leaving April Fools.
He's like, no, Chapek, I'll take it from here. Bob Iger resumes his old role as... The way how they've worded it is kind of weird.
Because he hasn't actually taken back CEO.
He's taken the responsibilities of CEO. So pretty much he's playing CEO without the title. And I'm thinking...
I know you commented that, but I mean, I've heard it from other people as well. I was grouping all of you together.
Yeah. And so he's taken the role of CEO, the responsibilities of CEO, without the title of CEO. And Lisa...
What?
Does that ever happen in businesses?
I blanked out. What were you saying?
That someone is doing the responsibilities of CEO, but without the title of CEO.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
In business.
Maybe not a CEO, but it happens all the time. If you pick up the slack of one of your coworkers, then all of a sudden it now becomes your responsibility there on out, and you still don't get their job title. You keep yours and they just add the responsibilities to your job title.
Yeah, pretty much. Bob Iger, in a sense, he didn't say this, but in a sense, he's like, you know, I've done this for 15 years. Chapek, you're new at this. Why don't you let me just take the reins and fix Disney?
Because he's going to come back and he's going to save the day.
So, with that, and a lot of people are very happy about this. Right? A lot of people are happy. You know, I was too. I mean, you know.
What about Bill Gates?
Bill Gates. I don't know. Bill Gates is Bill Gates. I mean, I don't know.
Bill Gates is Bill Gates.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you could say about him. With that, I wrote down some bullet points that I wanted to cover with this that I sent to you, Lisa.
So are you telling me you want me to open my text message?
Yeah, just you know.
Fine.
Just, you know, to figure this all out.
We called it. Was your first bullet point?
And we did. We called it. So, no. I called it. I was right. People need to listen to me more. And what's another bullet point?
You already said it. 15 years in the business. Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
He does. I mean, would you agree? Bob Iger does know what he's doing. He's probably the right person to take over, you know, take the reins to pull Disney out of this and, you know, get it back on track, because Disney is losing millions a day.
Millions.
Because all the theme parks are closed, as you know. The productions on the movies
have all stopped.
There's no sports going on. So none of, you know, the NBA stuff or anything like that.
Any sport, really.
You know, ESPN, you know, whatever. It's all down. The only thing that Disney is still making money on is Disney Plus, which has the highest subscription count, and they were all shocked about it. But I'm like, well, nobody's doing anything, so of course it's going to be high.
Well, but even though they're still making money off of Disney Plus, all like filming, like you just said, has stopped. So it's not like we're going to get new. They're probably just gonna give us early releases of stuff that wasn't supposed to come out on Disney Plus until later on.
Like Onward.
Yeah, and how like Frozen came out months before it was supposed to. Frozen 2.
Yeah. The Last Jedi will, or yeah.
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker, that's what I meant to say. Rise of Skywalker, that will be released a little bit early. We haven't got an official word on that, but you know that's probably just how it's going to go. And they're making money on their ABC? NBC? Fox.
ABC. Well, ABC and Disney have been together, and they recently bought Fox, so you have those.
So you have the news studios, and that's pretty much it. Disney Plus and the news studio. Everything else are losing millions of dollars. Millions.
Diz just posted that Disney signs additional $5 billion credit agreement news. Hashtag kinda relevant.
I didn't read that news yet. I have to look into that. I didn't really look into that part. So with that, we're going to have some, how do I want to put it? Disney right now, what Iger's going to do is he's going to try to fix this company with as much safety as possible. That's what we were talking about last live.
That's why you didn't see it. It just went up a minute ago.
Oh, it went up just a minute. Okay, so I'll have to look at that then. So obviously, like we talked about last time with the head checks and more safety, which I think is going to, the sanitizing stations are going to still be in there. The hand wash stations are still going to be in there.
Bullet points, then you look at me like, what's the next bullet point?
Well, you're not keeping me on task here, so I'm skipping all around. So, and with the head checks, sanitizer, hand wash. So we're just looking for the safety. The cast members, he's going to do that with limited cast members. And when I mean limited, it's not just the parks. Now, we're going to see massive budget cuts. Now, we're all used to budget cuts coming from Disney, but I think we're going to see a lot more in the actual corporate offices. I think we're going to see some doors closed on them. So, in the parks, I'd say forget all your live for Epcot The World Showcase, all your live dancers, singers, performers. Yeah, I don't think they're coming back. That's a big budget cut. Take them out. I don't want them to go, but that's what's going to happen.
They already got rid of Sergio.
British Revolution,
the Japanese drummers.
That's it for right now. But I think we're going to see a lot more of them gone to help with the budget cut. I think, in those corporate offices, I don't know specifically which ones, but I think we're going to see a lot of budget cuts from that just to try to help Disney, the company as a whole, try to dig themselves out of this. I think we're going to see that. We're going to get more news on that shortly, I think, within the next 2 weeks or week. You know what I mean? As Iger keeps relaying more information with that. So I would expect that. That's my opinion, I think. Now, I also, when it comes to the movies, I don't know how they're going to budget cut really on that, because I feel like they're going to have to
You can't budget cut a Disney movie and then expect to bring in awesome box office sales. So I don't think they're going to necessarily do budget cuts. They may not make as many films all in I think of last summer we had, it was Aladdin, Toy Story 4, Lion King, it was just boom, boom, boom.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think we're going to have that. But I don't think they're going to budget cut it.
No, I think
they need to make money off the movies.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be more of these movies are going to slow down a lot, Maybe even on the sets, it just might be a longer period to film things, you know what I mean? Because you might not just have all these people. That's possible. With that, we transition into the prices, and that's the big thing. That's what a lot of
hair tied back.
No, I'm wearing it.
No.
That's what a lot of people are concerned about is the prices. Now, I talked about and how I felt that I thought that the park tickets will go down in price.
I think initially they're going to go down in price to try to get people to come back, but I think after they get people back, it's going to go right back up.
I think Lisa's right. What we talked about before, we said many times, the park tickets will go down at first. Not much, but I think, you might see like a 10 or 15%
Just
savings.
try to get people to come
However, I'm not so sure about the hotels. I want to say that I think the hotels will go up in price. It's possible. Food has gone up. Food is going up still.
I want to comment on the resorts. I think they will give sales on the resorts again in the beginning to try to get people down because they need to get people back in the parks. But yeah, they are, because, and the only reason I'm saying that is because of the other point you made is they've raised the prices on the food. So if they lower the prices of some of the other things while they raise the price on food and probably merchandise, and then once they get the people back in, the resort prices will also go back up. I don't think it's going to be much of a discount. I don't think it's going to be crazy.
No, right now they're doing like a 20% summer and fun. That's the only thing. Which, value resort, a couple bucks. Moderate resorts, you're not seeing much of a discount at all. Deluxe, you are. But, when Disney reopens, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. Like, do I think a lot of people are going to run back to all, paying the high-end money for resorts? I don't know. Everybody is a little bit different of how they want to spend their money. So I don't know coming right out of this. But I'm thinking,
We'll find out.
I'm thinking with people who are out of jobs and this and that,
But that's exactly why I think that they're going to reduce the price of the resorts as well. Or people could say, yeah, I can afford to go to Disney with your ticket prices, but now I can't stay on, on property.
Or would this be the
and now they have to spend money for a rental car.
Or would this be the perfect time that Iger raises the prices of everything? As we talked about, as many people know, that Disney is trying to lower the crowds by catering more to the people who want to spend the big money only.
But I don't think that they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to be able to survive on that right away because even people that make a lot of money during this time, if they're not considered an essential worker, they've lost their job and they still have bills to pay. So even these people that could have potentially been able to afford it before this whole thing happened, if that was what they were going to be doing, I don't think they're going to survive on that.
It's going to be a very interesting couple months.
If they do that, Walt Disney World is going to turn into a locals park like Disneyland. And Walt Disney World is the moneymaker for all the tourists. We are the tourism industry of the Disney parks.
But
I don't think they're going to survive by raising all the prices when God knows how many people have lost their jobs.
See, this is where it's starting to now get a little interesting. And I think the next couple months are be something you're going to really want to watch, And I would always say the first thing, look first at the hotel prices. That's usually what I've learned where you can tell what sense of direction Disney is going by looking at their hotels, their resorts.
I think the resorts are going to go down in price to begin with, at least in the beginning. And someone commented too, and I know we had brought this up on a previous live, is those that had already had vacations booked and cancel, or well, didn't cancel, but rescheduled them, have already been offered the free dining. So yeah, I mean, Disney is already trying to bring people in with these great deals.
It'll be interesting though, what Iger does next after he feels, are we going to see this big spike in prices?
I'm saying that I think the prices will increase, but just not at the beginning. I think in the beginning, they're going to decrease the prices to get people back in. Once they get people back in and the economy's kind of gone, I don't want to say gone back to normal, but it has at least kind of leveled back out, they're going to raise the prices again.
I think the biggest deal you will see with Disney, the biggest deal in my opinion, I'm sure Lisa will agree with me too. It's not going to be so much the parks. It's going to be the Disney Cruise Line. That I think is going to be your biggest discount deal, because a lot of people, I wouldn't say necessarily blamed, not Disney, but blamed, I guess, these cruises for bringing people over who was positive, and you know what I mean? And they got a lot of heat, I should say. The cruise lines got a lot of heat.
So I do think that that's true. But I also think that it's still going to be a while, and not just Disney Cruise, but cruise lines in general, until they are fully up and running again, because they said that, you know, with the coronavirus, it's lasting on different surfaces for an extended amount of time. I mean, they are going to have to deep clean every surface on those cruise ships before they can open it back up. My one coworker said, and I forget what cruise line it was. It wasn't Disney, but she was saying how there was one, and this was before they had actually shut down the cruises. Maybe like a week or so before, she was telling me about it, that there was a cruise line boat that was suspected to have coronavirus on it. So they temporarily suspended their departure so they could clean the ship. And even after they cleaned it, there were still traces of the virus on the different surfaces. So that's why I'm saying, like, I think we're going to see great deals on cruise ships, but I think it's still going to be a little bit until cruises take off, because they're going to need to sanitize the crap out of all those ships.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Absolutely. Multiple times.
Now, a lot of people have been thinking, well, with all this going on and Disney not open, but we have the essential workers there, that a lot of this construction will be done. And it has been confirmed online through many sources right now that Disney has stopped all construction. Nothing's going on. I believe B-Bunch said in one of their videos, maybe some roads they worked on.
Oh, like just like the little, more of like the public area of Disney.
On Disney
property.
I
think that's because...
That's about it.
Well, and I think the reason why they probably continued like roads is because locals, although they have signs that say like this property is for Disney guests, like there are people that will travel through Disney property to get to and from their jobs that aren't on Disney property. Now, right now, they probably wouldn't have to worry about it because there's no traffic. But people had been known to do that. You know, you want to cut through I-4 traffic, you cut through Disney property a little bit and then get back on I-4. So that's probably why they kept the roads going, is because there's probably still people traveling those roads.
Yeah. And it's also been noted in other articles from many sources that the painting has stopped even on
the castle.
On the castle. Now, I thought they would have finished that because they were pretty much halfway done. And I was like, oh, it's paint, you know. Yep. That could be a 3-day job, you know, real quick. Nobody's in the park. It got 8 hours.
Well, I think a lot of us thought, well, they're closing the parks. This would be the perfect time to
do everything.
But I think, as someone mentioned to us, is that, God forbid, the coronavirus would have been on one of those surfaces. What's going to make a better headline than Disney construction worker dies of coronavirus after continuing construction, you know, whatever.
Very good point. So I don't expect, because I thought, okay, I was like everybody else and thought, hey, you know,
get it all done.
Get it all done. Everything will be fixed, you know.
The hospital's still doing their construction.
But Disney has stopped it. So no construction is going on. I think we won't see construction continue until maybe the first of the year. It's possible.
That's because someone told us.
But they're a very good source.
But you just took it as if that was your thought.
But I agree as well with that statement because you're coming into, they want to keep the safety so not as many people, and that's going to go with the construction. Iger's still going to have that concern, whether it's guests in the park, to the cast members, to the cast workers, a little bit of everything. So I think all that's going to halt in such a way, or really slow everything down. But I think you won't see the full force, as me and a buddy were talking about. Well, he mentioned it, I should say. And, when we started getting into it,
Well,
I think he's right on. January 1st is going to be the green light.
I think, again, too...
But does that... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You go first.
I think, again, too, though, going along with that as to why they could potentially be waiting until the 1st, if that is accurate, is even once, what are they calling it? The curve...
The peak.
Yeah, but... When we slow the curve, flatten the flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve.
Is that what I'm trying to say?
Probably.
Oh, there's been so much corona talk, I'm losing my mind. The coronavirus, if it's still on certain surfaces, they're probably gonna want to even these unfinished construction projects that are made of steel and all these metals, which that's been deemed to be one of the worst surfaces for this coronavirus.
Stays longer.
They're probably gonna want to sanitize every metal beam of these unfinished constructions before they proceed, which could be potentially why construction's not going to resume.
How do you think this affects the 50th?
Oh, I think that'll get pushed back.
Well, you can't really push back the actual 50th.
Well, but I mean, the celebration, I think is going to get pushed back. I think everything...
What do you guys think?
...is going to get pushed back.
Do you think the 50th will get pushed back? I mean, you can't really push back, like I said, 50 years, but the celebration stuff, do you think
regardless, next year will still mark 50 years that Disney opened. But, yeah, like you said, the celebration of it, I think is going to be pushed back.
Or maybe very minimal celebrating?
Maybe not pushed back till 2022, but maybe pushed back till the end of 2021.
It could be very scaled down. I think it could be very minimal. I think, like we talked about the last time we were live, with this safety, that it's going to go in phases, I think, and just to see how things play out. Like I said, I still think Disney Springs is going to open first with a few hotels. And like Lisa said, maybe not the full hotel, maybe certain wings of it.
Someone said, I think they will make up time if they open May 1st. I don't think they're opening May 1st.
Now, here's the thing.
I really don't think that they're opening May 1st. Because down here in Florida, in Central Florida area, we're not even supposed to hit our peak till May. So if we're not going to hit our coronavirus peak till May, Disney's not opening May 1st.
I think what a lot of people think May, I have this as a bullet point, is people have been really watching the CDC and listening to Anthony Fauci, which you should. He's very dependable.
How do you actually say his name? Is it Fauci?
I believe it's Fauci.
Fauci.
Yeah, I think it's Fauci.
I don't know.
Italian.
Italian.
It's Italian. And he said publicly on live TV in an interview, he thinks that businesses or the restrictions could lighten up, or is that how I put lighten up? Seize a little bit. I don't know how I would want to say that. Will begin next month. However, so people think right away, oh, that's perfect. Disney's going to open next month. He is not saying that. There are certain states. Each state is different.
Yeah, each state is hitting its peak at different times. And like I just said, Central Florida is not supposed to hit its peak till May.
So the mayor, he spoke about the mayor here in Florida, central, area, not south, central. He spoke out in an interview, I think it was yesterday, following Dr. Fauci, that...
Orange County?
Orange County, I want to say.
Orange County.
I want to say Orange County, which obviously Disney. So this relates to Disney and businesses. So he spoke on that. He doesn't feel that's going to open up for another 2 months. So he thinks June, early June, is when you can see. And I was actually thinking June to probably July 4th weekend. Okay, so
Could you imagine if-
just because, let's say a state that you're in is gonna relieve some of those restrictions, don't think that we're doing it here in Orange County and Disney. Don't think that.
Samantha Lewis mentioned that in Ontario, Canada,
Canada.
they just extended their state of the emergency, so kids aren't even going back to school by May. So my family lives up in PA, and the governor of PA has already extended the state of emergency that schools are not returning back in session for the remainder of this academic school year. Florida has not come out and said that.
Not yet.
But on average, the schools in this area, their last day is typically the end of May. So I don't foresee, if we're not going to hit our peak till May, I don't foresee the Florida schools going back either.
Yeah. Have they made anything about the schools? Because today's the 13th. Weren't they supposed to open back up in 2 days?
No, they had already extended it to the end of April.
Okay.
They've extended it now through the end of the month, but they haven't come out and said that they're not going to return by the end of the school year. But my thought process is if we're not going to hit our peak till May, these kids aren't returning back to school.
See, and
for the remainder of the school year, we're going to follow PA. PA's Governor Wolf up there has already said all Pennsylvania schools are supposed to be closed through the end of the academic school year. Mm-hmm. So they're all going to continue this online distance learning, and I think I feel like that's how actually almost all the states are going to follow, because we're all hitting peaks at different times, but you still want to sanitize the entire school before you let all these kids and the teachers and the staff come back in. So I have a feeling that just about every state is going to suspend in-person school for the remainder of the school year.
And I'm going to jump around because my mind's all over the place a little bit right now. So last time when we spoke live, we talked about, what did we talk about? What to expect pretty much. And we were going over the new safety that Iger was talking about with the head check, the temperature checks, before you enter parks or just, I think any Disney property, any property. My curious thought is this, and I wanted to bring this up last week, but it's one of those when you talk about something and then after it's done, you're like, oh, I just thought about this and I didn't get a chance to ask you guys. So let's say June 1st. Let's just say June 1st.
I really hope the parks are open.
So let's go by the mayor of Orange County, and let's say he says early June. It sticks with that. It actually opens up.
Yeah.
Business opens.
Let's say we hit our peak when we're supposed to. We flatten the curve.
Yep.
Everything's...
Disney opens up, but not all of Disney. Let's just say Magic Kingdom and Disney Springs are the only thing that are open. Let's just say. For example. So you're going at Magic Kingdom, you go to your security, where security is going to take a little longer now because, as we mentioned last time, and Iger has mentioned, they're going to be doing the mandatory head check for your temperature. So my thought to it, and I said this to Lisa after we went live, and I was like, man, I want to know your opinion because everybody's different. So I'm just curious. So say you're waiting in line, right? You are waiting in line to go, and you see somebody, let's say 3-4 people ahead of you. They're getting their frontal, head check for temperature, and it reaches that 100. Okay. And they're asked to step aside, and you already know, because they didn't go through, that their temperature was off. How are you going to react? I'm curious. I'm curious. Like, how would you react? Would you be like, oh my God, I think I saw that person. I might have crossed them on the ferry boat or the monorail or something. I don't know.
Do you think they're
curious?
Do you think Disney's going to do what the hospital is doing right now is, like, if I go into work and they do the temporal temperature check and it reads 100, before I'm told to call my supervisor and say I can't report to work, I get pulled aside and a nurse comes up and takes my temperature orally, because that's typically more accurate than the forehead. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's what Disney's going to do, just to be that double check? Because, and I guess I'm thinking is, especially come July, August, when we're in like the heat of summer, someone's forehead could feel really hot and they may not actually be sick.
Now, a lot of people have said this, and I don't disagree with them, that with Disney doing these temperature checks, some have said that this could be a little bit of a joke because you're having untrained cast members giving these temperature checks and.
So, hold on.
No, go ahead.
So you don't have to be trained to do the temporal.
No.
Look at our job.
No, you don't have to.
People doing the temporal temperature checks aren't the nurses because it's just a quick swipe. I was doing it on Friday when I was doing the ER screening. I was the thermometer person. I'm not a nurse. But when it came time to, okay, the thermometer's now reading a higher temperature, a nurse came in. They have these first aid stations. They have nurses on staff that they may end up, I could potentially see pulling a nurse from each first aid station up to the front entrances so that when someone reads 100 degrees or more, there's someone there that can then properly do the oral thermometer.
And how many people do you think on average you would need at each park? At the front, if you had to take a guess.
Honestly, I don't know because in the beginning, we really don't know what the crowd levels are going to look like. I can see it going
Maybe
both
3?
ways. I can see the parks being more of a locals park in the beginning just because, one, people that have canceled or rescheduled their vacations have probably rescheduled for later on in the year to try to give plenty of time for this thing to end. And you also have people that may be still skeptical about coming down. So I think it's going to be more of a locals park, in which case you probably don't need as many if it's be more of the locals coming. But as the tourists start to come down, you're going to need to up that.
Mm-hmm.
Could we potentially see Disney hiring on new medical staff? I could see that.
Yeah, hiring on some more help, you know.
Yeah.
I could definitely
see that. Someone brought up again about, for the asymptomatic people that can transmit temperatures or that can still transmit the virus. The temperatures thing isn't gonna stand. It doesn't. This is Bob Iger's already said this is what we're gonna do. So regardless of, and I understand your point because that's very true. You have the asymptomatic.
I'm sure he's gonna think of something for that.
I mean, it's just like our job. I could potentially be carrying the virus and be asymptomatic. I'm allowed into work without a temperature. Now, granted, at my job, I have to wear a mask anyway, so I'm at least holding my germs into my own face. But
I'm sure he's obviously thought about that stuff, and he hasn't said anything publicly yet of how he will deal with those situations. But I'm sure that's in his back of his mind if he's going with all this. Talking in a group of people and the board, how we're going to come up with safety. I'm sure somebody has mentioned this. Well, what about asymptomatic people?
Yeah.
What are we going to do for this?
But you're going to have that regardless of...
He's thinking.
Yeah,
I'm sure he is.
If you had ever traveled to Disney World during flu season, any other year besides this one because we got intermixed with the coronavirus. But prior to the coronavirus, other years during flu season, you would see people walking around the parks with masks on. Not a whole lot, but you could spot them. There were people that, whether or not, I'm assuming it's because they probably had immune systems that weren't the greatest, or maybe it was just they chose not to get the flu shot, so that was their way of protecting themselves, knowing they would be at Disney. You're always going to have something that people are going to be fearful of. But we have immune systems for a reason, and this isn't going to be, this obviously isn't going to work for people who have those immune systems that have been, what's the word I'm looking for?
Compromised.
But those of us who don't have compromised immune systems, we have immune systems for a reason. They are in place to recognize when there is something different in our body and it goes to attack it. So again, this isn't going to work for those with compromised immune systems because their immune system is compromised. They can't go and fight these things. So there's always going to be something someone's going to be afraid of. I don't know. I don't even know how I got off on this rant. I feel like it has nothing to do with what you're talking about because it probably doesn't.
It happens.
I was like talking as I was thinking, and then nothing ended up making sense.
Yeah, I'm sure he will too have good medical
Yeah.
staff to help him. I'm sure he's calling in all, the medical cast members, and asking their suggestions. What can we do? Because they're
Like
professionals,
I said, I wouldn't be surprised if come the time when once Disney actually comes out and says, okay, this is the date that we're planning on opening, I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing job openings for medical staff.
I believe it. Well, right now, I didn't look into it, but many people have told me, and I keep forgetting to look it up to see how true it is or not, that nursing is free classes online
Because we're such in high demand.
because of such high demand right now. To help them to get into the field and making the online classes free.
I don't know. I didn't look into it.
I didn't look into it, but a couple people, not just one. I had many people say something about that. I just keep forgetting to look into it to see how true that is.
Oh, Randomness wants to know, is that the shirt that Disney made Tony turn inside out?
Yes, it is.
Except he didn't turn it inside out. He ended up getting a free t-shirt.
This is the shirt that Disney had a problem with me.
Okay, someone said they've seen free CNA classes, but not nursing.
Okay.
So those would be like the techs.
Gotcha. But still, it's something. Absolutely.
We still need them too.
Yeah, you still need all of them.
I saw, and it was so true, that someone finally recognized the housekeeping staff at hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
They are the ones that have to go into a room after a patient's been discharged with the coronavirus or who has unfortunately passed away from the coronavirus and scrub that thing clean so that the next patient that comes in doesn't catch it.
Yeah.
They're putting themselves in just as much harm's way as that.
I think anybody and everybody who works in the hospital in every department deserves it.
Yeah.
Because like Bob, my buddy Bob, he was saying, well, Lisa's more, whatever round than you are, Tony. And I was like, no, well, yeah, maybe, but the fact is,
I'm around the patients face to face more than you are just because of the
but
department
I'm around the workers. So if a worker slips up,
yeah,
I'm in contact with. I'm.
You're in contact with me.
Exactly.
So that's bad.
For our positions are obviously different. Lisa's more interactive with patients. I'm more interactive with the staff. So
well, and at one point with the visitors, but now there's no visitors allowed. So
yeah. So I'm more with the staff right now. So all it takes is
someone to screw up.
Someone to screw up, and next thing you know, I'm in full-blown contact. It's just the way it is. So it's that risk every day. So I think everybody in every department.
Yes, and the nursing home employees.
Absolutely, all of them.
Right? All the healthcare.
All health.
I mean,
but it's not even just healthcare. It's
well, no, but I mean, you have all the grocery store workers.
Yeah.
That have to still go to work.
Oh yeah.
And are dealing with all of us germy people going in there doing our shopping.
And thank God, not all the essential businesses closed yesterday for Easter, but a good 90% of them did. And ones that would actually stay open for Easter, they closed just to give their workers a break. And that was awesome because a lot of people are working so hard. You know what I mean? Especially those grocery store people.
Someone asked Tony, what exactly do you do?
I
cook.
I work with doctors and nurses. I listen to their stories.
He cooks. He cooks the food. Well, today you were cooking the food for the patients.
Today I was with the patients, not physically, but
you were cooking the food for them.
Yeah. That's what I do.
That's what you do.
My life is not that exciting. All of them. Yes, you're right. Random's at Amazon. Any big.
I get more concerned and appreciative though for those people, and I'm going back to the healthcare, but I'm talking outside the hospital. I'm talking about those home healthcare workers and the hospice workers that have to go into the houses.
Yeah.
I'm going to work and I'm going into the hospital where, yes, there's plenty of germs there, but I'm coming home to my own house and it's just the two of us, thankfully. So we're not necessarily worried about having to spread the germ to any kids or anything like that. But I worry about those people that are still continuously working and going into multiple patients' homes and then still having to go home to their families. Right. Like, they deserve a round of applause.
Somebody asked a question. Going forward, what key events, performers do you see going away? For Disney, I think
we kind of brought up the World Showcase.
I think all the performers in the World Showcase will be done. Fireworks will be done for now. Any of the parades that happen at Magic Kingdom will be done, because anything that involves a big crowd of people. So
yeah, I think fireworks,
because you don't want everybody at the hub,
done permanently, but are going to be. They're not going to be occurring right away. I don't think the parades.
Parades will be a big one. Fireworks are a big one because they don't want everybody in
and can you
one
imagine,
location.
Like, we always go to Disney for 4th of July, and I think this is probably the first year that they may not.
They may not do anything for 4th of July. Lisa, do you have any people come into the hospital frantic?
Everybody thinks they have the coronavirus. I mean, when I have to go do the emergency room screenings where I screen everyone coming in, everyone thinks they have it.
What does Dr. Fauci say? Go about it as if you do have it to protect yourself. You know what I mean?
No, and that's fine.
I think that's what he was saying. Fine.
But what I find hilarious is, like, so we'll see the cars coming in, and they will walk perfectly normal from their car until they get to a certain point, and then it's like, oh my gosh!
That was such a great reaction.
I know.
I don't know.
No, but everybody thinks they have it, and I know there's a lot of fear going on, and you hear about certain symptoms. So if you just show like one symptom, your worst fears, come to fruition. So
going back to those events and other things closing or whatever, I think that Disney as a whole will not open up. We talked about that last time. We don't think all parks, like Disney's not going to flick a light switch and everything is going to be back running.
Well, no, and they won't have all their cast members back at that point.
But I think they'll go in phases. I still think it's going to be Disney Springs first, and then I think it's going to be Magic Kingdom. Lisa mentioned last week, I think it was, wondering if, let's say, Magic Kingdom, only certain lands open up.
Yeah, like maybe. I think regardless, whatever parks open up, it's going to be reduced hours. But yeah, I had mentioned, like, maybe with Magic Kingdom, like, let's say, like, to start off, maybe if they anticipate that it's going to be more of a locals park in the beginning, for example, let's say, Tomorrowland and Frontierland are open because they're two lands, but they're also on two opposite sides. And then you would still have your hub.
I think though, you could be right, but I would think,
I don't know.
I would think in my head, like, maybe I think a little bit different. I would say I would want all of Magic Kingdom open so people can roam around in that
and
free,
that's
so
true,
they're not
because you
in
don't want to
grouped.
Cattle them all in one area.
I would want them to spread out. So I don't know. I think
someone else too. What about dining rooms? Would they seat less people? I see that happening. I think restaurants aren't going to open full capacity.
I think it's going to be a lot more mobile.
Yeah.
I think
but I think even like with sit-down restaurants, I don't think that they're going to have the whole restaurant open. I think they're going to close certain wings of restaurants so that way they don't have as many people.
Rides, do I think rides? Maybe all the rides will be open, but I think they'll be boarding them at slower. I would think, because I don't know, they could spray disinfects, each time. I don't know.
Are they going to go, like you said, back, even if it's just temporarily, back to the old fast pass system so that they can limit.
Yeah, the old paper ones.
But like instead of you can do a standby, like are all standbys going to be
virtual
or closed? Or are they going to turn virtual for temporary means just to try to keep people from, or to stop people from being in a enclosed area?
Yeah, so that's to be determined. The ride systems are a little bit tricky. I do think, if they don't do the virtuals or the fast pass, I think they're going to go old school with the little clicker and do the count of let in, I don't know, 20 or 25 people into the queue, and then, have people wait, for X amount of time. Okay, we can let the next 20 or 25 people in. So especially those pre-shows now that they're really big on, for the
Which
rides.
obviously the older rides don't have that.
But more of these newer ones like Rise of Resistance, the new
Flight of-
Mickey and Minnie,
Yeah, Flight of Passage has it. Even Dinosaur has the pre-show.
Well, Flight of Passage only has what, 10 people? Is it 10?
10? No.
10 or 12?
16.
16? I don't know. I don't even know.
Trying to remember, we've pretty much been on.
But that one, they kind of crowd control in that a little bit.
Well, once you get to that certain area.
Yeah. Dinosaur open.
Has, but it still has the pre-show.
That's what I mean. That's
but
a
it's
full
an open
stand-up
area.
Do I think Muppets would be open in the theater?
They have the pre-show, which is pretty much you just waiting for the show.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't see Muppets maybe being open. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna.
Would then I go then to say Indiana? I think would be closed because you're pretty much, they have you scoop tight.
Or are they going to limit the amount of people that can go in and see it? I don't know.
I don't know. That's interesting. That is up in the air. I don't know. We'll get further news on that once. I would say, in my mind, if we're going by the mayor, let's just say, going by the mayor, he says June. What are we in, April? I'd say by mid-May, the latest, Disney has to come out with a lot more detail. If it's going to be the June, as of right now, that still remains to be seen. Yeah. That could be obviously pushed back.
Someone asked to, which Orlando, I think they meant more of a park, not necessarily attraction, do you think will open first between Disney or Universal? Just going off of like the trend we've been seeing, it seems like Disney starts whatever, and then Universal follows suit, and then SeaWorld follows suit. So I could maybe see them opening the same day, but I think Disney's probably going to be the first to announce it. Universal's going to catch wind of it, and then they're going to follow suit.
It's pretty much...
And then SeaWorld will follow suit after that.
When you think Florida, and actually it's pretty true when you compare it to all the other theme parks, Florida is the mouse house. You know what I mean? That's the main thing. So Lisa's right. It's whatever Disney does. So Universal, you can bet, is paying attention to see what Disney is going to do.
And that's why I said I think they could potentially open the same day, but Disney will make the announcement first.
They'll make the first, and then, yeah, Lisa's right. Within a couple hours, Universal
will,
or
and then
the
like
next
a day later, SeaWorld will.
Yeah, SeaWorld's always the last.
It was like, yeah, like even when they were closing, it was like you didn't. So Disney made the announcement they were shutting down, and literally an hour or two later, Universal made the announcement, and it was like, what, 2 or 3 days later is finally when SeaWorld was like, oh yeah, we're gonna close too.
Yeah, we'll close. So like, Disney and Universal closed on the same dates, but SeaWorld stayed open till like Tuesday or something like that.
And then closed.
So that was weird. SeaWorld is very behind.
And obviously, because SeaWorld and Busch Gardens are partnered, so then once SeaWorld opens, Busch Gardens will open.
Exactly. But Universal-wise, because we always talk about Disney. How do you think will Universal do the same thing, do you think? Follow suit with Disney, do the head checks?
Oh, yeah.
Temperature?
I think they will.
Yeah.
I mean, however, security will still go faster at Universal because they already have the better system in place.
They do have the better system. So
but
we'll
yeah,
go faster.
I think what's going to happen is maybe they're going to have that second security guard behind that one. So once you walk through the metal detector, then that second one will be right there to do the temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they'll take your temperature before you even go into the metal detector.
I would think you would want to take it first before going in.
Yeah, because what's the point? Then
because
they're going to be like, all right, you got to turn around.
Yeah, once you're in past security. So I would think you would do the head check first and then do your security. And I think Disney will do it the same way. Head check, then go through security with the bag and everything else.
I go through the rest of security.
I think, and I would hope, but I would think that the fingerprint for the turnstiles will be gone. For now. The fingerprint.
Oh.
I think that'll go. I think it'll just be a scan of the band, and that'll be it. Let you in the park.
It'll be interesting. Like, I'm sure Universal will do away with that too for a little bit.
Yeah, I think so because they have the same thing. Yeah. You know, scan your pass.
Someone asked if Universal's still going to build a new park. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
that they already purchased the land. They're going to build it. It's just now probably been delayed.
Universal's construction has not stopped.
Oh. Well, they may not be delayed then.
Universal is following suit with their construction. They did not stop their construction.
Someone else just asked if we think Universal Studios is going to scale down Halloween Horror Nights this year. Someone asked us this in the last
We talked
live,
about that.
and we said, depending on when the parks reopen, we could potentially see that Halloween Horror Nights isn't going to start as early as end of August. Maybe it'll have a later opening, but maybe also limiting the number of people or kind of doing it how I like anyway, because I grew up in PA doing like Halloween haunt stuff at different parks. They never had a continuous line going through. They would send only so many people through. And then after they got so far through the house, then they would send the next group in.
I see them putting an actual cap on their tickets for Halloween Horror Nights.
Hopefully Disney does that because they're constantly overselling.
Yeah, I think Universal will actually have a cap.
Do you
on
think
their
that
tickets.
means then they'll get rid of the frequent Fear Pass? Because if you have the frequent Fear Pass, you can show up any day, any night you want. But what if, I potentially see them getting rid of that, because if you're told you can go any night you want, and let's say like, oh, I don't get done work till 6, but I'm going to drive over there after work to do 2 houses and then leave. But if they've already hit their quota, they're going to tell me I can't go.
Yeah, I don't know how that's, I don't know how that's going to work.
Would they get rid of it? I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know how Halloween Horror Nights is going to go. That is one of my intrigued things once we get around that time. Because I'm sure the parks will be open then, obviously. So I am very intrigued how they're going to handle that. I don't know.
I think it would be the same type of question too with Mickey's Not So Scary and
Yeah.
Mickey's Very Merry Christmas. Like any of these.
Anything that you have to pay an
any
extra.
of these events, I don't maybe not necessarily scaling down as far as like the decor and the ambiance, but maybe scaling down the amount of people they let in.
Somebody asked about any ideas on other Florida, something about the beaches.
Oh, Miami, Keys, Daytona. So Miami's the hot spot right now.
Yeah, Miami is bad.
South Florida's gonna. So this will include the Keys too. South Florida is gonna open up after North and Central Florida open up. They are the hot spot because that's where the ports are.
Yep. Because the mayor screwed up. I forget the mayor's name, South Florida. He screwed up. He's getting a lot of heat because he
Miami-Dade County area?
Yeah, he's getting a lot of heat because of leaving all those beaches open.
Oh, that even was as far up as Tampa.
Yeah.
Tampa's not too far from...
letting all those spring breakers down.
Oh, yeah, that was a terrible idea.
Like, why would you do that? He's getting a lot of heat right now.
South Florida, it's going to be a while till those areas open back up. Daytona, because that's north, it's north of us. And I don't think we're as dumb as...
I like how you say as dumb.
South Florida, but it's not the people of South Florida that were dumb. It was the mayor.
He was
that allowed all the
stupid.
spring breakers to come down. So Daytona was lucky because they lived in another area, but there were still plenty of spring breakers on pretty much every beach. But I foresee Daytona opening up. I see the North Florida beaches. I see the beaches kind of opening up north to south.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have those North Florida beaches like Jacksonville. It's going to start opening up. It's going to trickle its way down Daytona and then
Tampa, Clearwater, and then eventually
make its way down to Miami.
But Miami, the Keys, are going to take a long while. That is the hot spot. They have it bad right now. Seriously, like it's bad in Miami, South Florida. It's bad.
They're the epicenter of Florida.
Yes, true story. I think we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah, we've been on this for about an hour now.
Yeah, so that's the Disney news and our thoughts. Bob Iger is CEO again without the title of CEO. So now we're going with the, he's going to try to save Disney with safety and very little cast members. is pretty much what he's working with right now. So lots more budget cuts. We're used to the budget cuts, as I said, but I think budget cuts are going to go more into the corporate offices. We'll see. We'll get more insight on that. Dr. Fauci says states could open up as soon as next month. However, that is not for Orlando. Keep that in mind. The mayor said...
As long as we, as long as our peak hits when it's expected, which is May, we're not opening.
We're not opening, so mayor said maybe June, early June. So, like I said, if your state is about to relax their restrictions,
I think some of the states have already hit their peak. So now they're kind of getting into the, not necessarily wrap-up phase, but so we're probably going to be entering a time where some of these restrictions are going to
but don't think or assume that because, let's say, a state that you're in is loosening those restrictions that Disney's no, not yet. We still got a little bit of time. We haven't hit our peak yet. And you know what? I'm curious, real quick. I haven't heard anything from Chapek on his thoughts about
Maybe that's why
Iger.
Bob Iger took over, because Chapek's been silent the entire time.
The only
people are like, tell us something.
The only people you see on the front lines of Disney responding to things is Iger and D'Amaro. Chapek hides in the bushes.
He's like, I'm not here.
He's just like that guy, just
and I think obviously people want to hear good news, but I think that they would appreciate any news at this point. Just tell us something.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a matter of saying we're still evaluating the situation right now. The parks are still going to be closed till further notice. Just give them some type of news, man. But now you don't have to worry about it because Iger took back over.
Iger's doing it. And D'Amaro always on his Instagram gives something. I follow him. I love that guy. He's going to be the new CEO. I still go into my conspiracy theory. Iger's going to give it to D'Amaro. I still think that. So far, I'm right on my conspiracy theory.
You couldn't even give them an update? You're out. D'Amaro's in.
I would love D'Amaro. He fixes everything. He's the fixer-upper of Disney. I think he's great. And he's a people person. He's going to have a lot
of fixing up to do around all the Disney parks.
Hey.
Not necessarily fixing up but just because of the economy across the world.
But you know what, though? If anybody could do it...
D'Amaro can.
I mean, this is going to be his biggest challenge.
Oh, yeah, because he got all of them to do now.
Yeah, and I know, and I have a feeling, not that I know, but I have a very good feeling as Iger is helping this, he's going to go to D'Amaro because he knows that's what he hired him on for, to bring him here to help the problems. This is where he's going to be like, you know what? That is going to be the guy who should be running this company, and then Chapek, you're out of here.
If the parks open in the order that they closed, at least he can... China's 2 parks closed first. So he has 2 parks he can focus right there. And then as he gets that one open, he can focus on Tokyo. But then you got Disneyland Paris, and Walt Disney World that all decide we're closing the same day.
Yep.
Now open us all back up at the same time. You got 3 parks to do in one shot.
Yeah, that's a little too much.
Split yourself in 3 places.
Oh, well. Well, we'll keep you guys updated as news continues, the more things that we hear. And I say May, we should start hearing a lot more.
Yeah, I think we'll start hearing a lot more in May, but we're not.
A lot more of what's actually going to happen. Or, what's going to happen. I should say that. I think Iger should, by mid-May, give us, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, or this is an anticipated opening.
And
not a guaranteed, but we anticipate we could potentially open.
And we're going to do this, this, and this.
Yeah, and maybe he'll be like, all right, for example, Disneyland, California, you're more of the local parks anyway. We don't get as many tourists there. We're going to focus on getting you guys open, let's say I'm giving this as an example, June 1st. Walt Disney World, you're our big moneymaker with tourists. We're going to really open things slowly. We're going to try to get this running by, June 30th and slowly open things up. Just give me something. Give me an anticipated something to look forward to.
And I think that'll be.
And then let me down when it doesn't happen. I get it, but as long as you don't say I'm guaranteeing you that this.
Oh yeah, don't give the false hope. So I think Iger is going to do this the right way. I think he will. Absolutely, he's been doing it for 15 years, right? 15.
15.
1-5.
1-5.
All right, guys. We will see you next time. Thanks for hanging around.
We've been gabbing.
Yeah, we just gab, you know. Vlog finito.
Finito.
Bye-bye.